Let's break that one down. First thing is the chord progression, just the basic 12-bar blues in A. A9, D9, D9, A9, E9, D9, A9, E9. That's it. So your basic 12-bar blues in A. Now, sticking with our concept, first thing we want to think about is what scale can we play over the whole thing? On a blues, one scale doesn't always fit all, but A major pentatonic is a great place to start. And when we start to look at the outlining of the chords in two specific regions, we can see the notes that we need to change to get some of those really strong notes to outline, specifically the D7 chord. All right, so let's take a look at where those chords sit. Well, pentatonic scale first, sorry. Primarily here, and then I'm going to go down to A minor pentatonic here at the end for a little bit more of that bluesy sound. All right, so up top here, I'm thinking A major triad. I can think A7 to D7 to E7, but at the heart of those is a triad. So here's my A major triad, right there, right in the scale too. Then I go to D or D7. Now there's where some of the notes are outside of the scale. I'll get to that in a second, but these are all I'm thinking about. And I'm thinking E major, right at the top here, two fingerings I'm thinking about, maybe this, or that E right there, back to the A. Same thing when I go down here, A, D7, A7 or A major, A7, and then my 5 chord, E7, or E major, back to the A. So I'm really thinking about those chord shapes right on top. Now, there's some fun things. There's only really one note in the A major pentatonic scale that does not work well on one of the chords, and that's the D chord. Okay, so A major pentatonic is A, B, C sharp, E, F sharp, A, B, C sharp, E, F sharp, etc. So A major is spelled A, C sharp, and E. Now there's no G in this, which would be our A7 chord, but I'm not even playing that, so we're good. So the first idea, these are really typical blues licks, and we're going to get into the reason why people play this stuff. These licks, they're almost beyond cliche to the point of that you just need to play them. They're expected. It's the B.B. King stuff, the Peter Green stuff. So, all right, so my first lick, I'm playing the A major pentatonic scale. I'm sliding in to this A, and I'm bending. My target note here is going to be that C sharp from my A chord. Right? Now I do a quick forward change. Really incredibly popular and essential lick. So there, if you noticed, I went out of the scale, out of the A major pentatonic, and played this C bend up to D, then up a half step from B to C to A. If you look at D7, I'm basically outlining that sound right there. Right? So I'm just really seeing the chord shape right inside the pentatonic scale. Now there I played an E, bend that B up to the C sharp, the A again. So once again I'm back in my A chord. Now when I go to the 5, so what I did there, I'm just thinking E major, I played E, I bent the B for a cool little sound, and resolved it to the B because that's what's in the chord, right? Now, at some points I went down here, kind of a little bluesy pentatonic lick, but our concept still remains the same here. There I'm using a A minor pentatonic scale. But if I look in there and I have A7, that's my chord, A major triad with a 7th. I just went down the scale. Now that, I bent this C note up to the C sharp. So I'm really thinking that A major triad shape, hitting the basic notes. So I mean, I can outline the blues by just playing the triads. Four chord, seventh, back to the A triad. Now my E, D. Now, of course, you wouldn't play that, you know, on an official solo or a blues, but that's a lot of what I'm thinking when I'm playing. I'm always seeing those notes, and what are those strong notes between the chord changes. Once again, it's almost always going to be the chord tones. And in the A, C sharp, and the E, why does that sound so good? I'm playing in the chord tones. And why is it so important that I change to the C when I go to that D7 chord? You get that really strong note. And then back to the A chord, because that's what's in the chord. And listen to that great sound. I went from the bent up the B to the C for the D7 chord, right? Then back, I bent the B up to the C sharp. So you heard that change of da, 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 blah, right? So I really resolved the D7 to the A chord. Now, I didn't go too crazy on the G chord in terms of outlining. I left out the G sharp, which is, I could have played it, but stylistically, in the genre of blues that I was playing it, that kind of Peter Green, B.B. Kingish sort of stuff, those guys didn't outline that 5 chord too much. They would always hit the root and the fifth of that, which is those two notes, which I did. Then at the end, always kind of getting that classic 5 chord root in the bass. All right, let me walk you through that guitar solo and what I'm thinking on it. Now, I'm kind of a little bit of improvising on that because we're going to see a lot of very familiar themes. So, on my 1 chord, classic stuff, targeting that C sharp, which is, I do my quick 4. Right down the chord. Seeing that D major triad, adding in that C, which is my flat 7, and I'm doing it with some bends. That is a really, really important lick. So then, there, I'm doing what we call the BB's box. I'm borrowing A major pentatonic, using that. But instead of playing the C sharp, I prefer to bend it because it sounds cool, as does B.B. King and Peter Green. And then what those guys do, they will add in the D, which is normally outside of the scale, but you put it in there and it just sounds great. And it also is really nice because when you go to your D chord, it's right in the D chord. So it's a nice little way that by changing that one note in the scale, we do cover the D7 chord, and it sounds good on the E chord, the 5 chord there, and on the A chord. All right, so I kind of played off of that, and I did a little fill down here. Kind of a little blues thing down there. I'm just thinking, once again, the A7. That's a very common maneuver in the blues. Play the high thing, do like a little bit of an answer down low. Listen to the 2 guys I mentioned out here, Peter Green and B.B. King. They do that quite a lot. And I come up to my E chord, right? So got that cool ba-bum on my E7. Same lick as before. And then an ending lick, like I said before, down low. And always targeting that E as the root of my 5 chord.